Watch the volume here. I guess I do have a little bit of a hog calling voice. No, it's okay. We're good. We're good. 40 years ago, you know, John put up here, who remembers 1978? Unfortunately, I remember 1978. Sort of. I had just graduated university, was still trying to sober up and get my liver back into condition. I think the words were, get a little blood back in your alcohol stream. So, but 1978, I always turn to the sports events. And you think about 1978, the 12th Super Bowl was being played. Think of what we're about to experience. We're up in the 50s now in terms of Super Bowls. Who won Super Bowl 12, by the way? Not a chance. Even though I'm a huge Steelers fan, baby, I love them. It was the Cowboys. 27-7 over Denver. The NBA championship that year was won by not the Lakers, the Washington Wizards. Do you remember that? Who remembers that one? Defeated Seattle, and Seattle still has not recovered. The 1978 World Series. Oh, come on, this one's easy.
Yankees?
Yankees, right. But now the question is, who did they beat? Dodgers. Tommy Lasorda and the Los Angeles Dodgers. He must be a Dodgers fan still. The Stanley Cup, 1978. One of my favorite hockey teams. Le Canadien de Montréal defeated the Boston Bruins in 6 games. The 1978 Masters Tournament. Hubert Green, after the first 3 rounds, was 7 strokes ahead of the rest of the field. 7 strokes. And he finished second to Gary Player, who won his 3rd Masters. Second place, also tied, was Tom Watson and Brad Funseth. President in 1978.
Carter.
James Earl Carter, the 39th President of the United States, was the president. And last but not least, okay, you're here in Arizona, who's the governor?
Goldwater.
No. Bruce Babbitt. And he was elected and defeated Republican Evan Meacham after previous governor Wesley Bolin died while in office. And Mr. Babbitt, who was the Attorney General, was elected into the position. And think of that. 40 years ago, 25 people, excuse me, from here in Phoenix, along with 3 at least members of your board of directors, made the decision to have project management become a membership association or a chapter here in Phoenix. That's a huge commitment of volunteerism and volunteer time. Project management chapters are not bricks and mortar institutions. They're built on the volunteers that take their time and spend their time building those chapters, spending the time to run events like this, as well as the events that you're going to see. Now, if you go and poke any volunteer in this room tonight and ask them, why do you do it? They will, to a person, tell you they get more out of it than they ever put in. What did you get out of it? And what is the possibility for any of us to gain as a result of being a volunteer with PMI? Well, from my perspective, I gained 3 things. First thing, a network. When you think about the network of people that are in this room, standing in line at dinner, talking with a group of individuals, brand new individuals, and one individual said, yeah, I'm looking for a job. Hey! Happen to be walking next to the table of the company at the back of the room that's looking for employees. Yes. Think about the number of resumes he just did not have to put out to have a potential new job. Volunteers also get the same kind of network. My network over the last few years has grown hugely. I am the chair of the Strategic Oversight Committee of the Project Management Institute. So this new strategy that you see coming through over the next year, yeah, I'm in it. Don't blame me. Give me credit. No. But truthfully, I'm working with a global community. The other members of my team are from Jamaica, Mexico, and India, and our staff partner is a Turk who lives in Uruguay. And I'm the Canadian. And I'm the one who says "hey" a lot. I get it. But that is a huge network. Second thing I've gotten, and every volunteer gets the same opportunity, they get to be a better project manager. Because as a volunteer, you get the opportunity to attend global congresses, you get opportunities to attend regional meetings, LIMS, Leadership Institute meetings, where we have some of the very best speakers in the world. You're going to have one of those individuals here next month, Dr. Harold Kirsner. Do not miss the opportunity to hear that man speak. He is brilliant. And he will help you to become a better technical project manager. And the third thing, I learned about a new style of leadership. You see, I'm an engineer. Don't blame me for that one either. My father wanted me to become an engineer, so I did. But engineers are very much about command and control. Do this work for me, John. Get it done. As a volunteer, that doesn't work. You can't do that. So I had to learn something called management and leadership by influence. I go and I ask people, Craig, could you do this for me? I really appreciate it. It will really bring great value. And when Craig delivers, no matter how great or not so great, Craig delivers, you say the following two words, and they're magic. Thank you. And then you say it again, and again, and again, till he goes, enough with the thank you. Now, my own experience of that, I had a gentleman doing our project of the year when I had the luxury of being the president of the Northern Alberta chapter. Let's call him Harold, mainly because that's his name. Harold did our project of the year, and he came to me and said, I'd like to do this. And I said, great. We talked about the parameters for it. And I have to tell you, the first year that Harold did it wasn't very good. But I thanked him. And then I thanked him again. And I thanked him a third time. And I thanked him a fourth time. To the point where I knew Harold was going, I really didn't do such a great job. And this son of a gun is thanking me. And it produced in him the motivation to go and do it the next year. I will tell you, Harold rocked the world the next year. And that is a style of leadership that I also took back to work. Consider you're working in your office each and every day, and somebody comes up to you and says, would you mind doing this? I'd really appreciate it. Rather than, it's your job, get it done. And then when you were done, they said, thank you. And they meant it. Not thank you that you got it done because I'm paying you to do it, but thank you. Those are the things that volunteers learn. That's what I've learned, being through my 14-year involvement with the Project Management Institute. When I first came to being a volunteer with PMI, my boss at the time said to me, Randy, I want you to get involved with PMI as a volunteer because it'll be good for you. My mother told me, carrots will be good for you. You'll never need to wear glasses. Here's the one time he was right. And the only thing I can guarantee you, if you make a decision to participate as a volunteer with PMI, is you'll be better for it. That's the only thing I can give you. So, 40 years, Phoenix Area Chapter. My pleasure tonight is to congratulate you as a chapter on behalf of our president and CEO and the board of directors. But before I do that, I'd like to do one extra thing. If you, in your role, both, by the way, Chandler and Buckeye folks, I'd like you to do this as well. If you have volunteered at any time for PMI or for this chapter, I'd like you to stand up. Could we please acknowledge these people? Thank you all thank you all for your service and for the contributions that you have made to the Project Management Institute. And now I'd like to call up my very good friend, Mr. John Bailey. John, on behalf of the President and CEO of PMI, Mr. Mark Langley, on behalf of Katerina Latona, the Chair of the Board for 2018, and the Board of Directors, congratulations to you and the Phoenix Chapter.